I didn't mean to start a show, but last year, I found myself in a position committing to something I didn't completely understand, but has led me to this stage to share what I've learned. Everyone has a story. I had no concept of what it meant to put a live show on social media, with friends across the country, meeting new people, and entertaining an audience. I had zero experience. No expert or advisor to call on, and no manual. This sort of sounds like parenthood. I had no realization of where this journey was going to take me and the impact it was going to have. And all from the basement of my home in central Illinois. Many, many years ago, a buddy from my hometown of Lubbock, Texas, thought we should start a radio show together. At the time, we loved listening to the Kid Craddock in the Morning Show, a popular radio program out of Dallas. It was superbly funny, and the hosts worked well together. They had entertaining guests, and we listened to them every morning. We thought we were just as funny and could make people laugh with us too. Well, my friend thought that more than I did. It was one of those things friends say, but you never really take it seriously. Know what I mean? Fast forward 15 years to a phone call on a chilly holiday evening in 2019. My friend, his name is Joe Baker, once again tells me that we should have a radio show or even a podcast. This time, I get a little frustrated. I like to make things happen instead of just talking about it, especially after the length of time that he had been saying this. As he's speaking, I look up what is needed to make a podcast. In under 15 minutes, I set up everything, and within the next 20 minutes, Joe and I, co-hosting, accomplished our first podcast. It was pretty fun. But after a few more attempts, over the next couple of weeks, we decided on doing a live show on social media instead. We were both set up and ready for our first taping. We got the technology working. The background's not so nice, but that's okay. And our topic for the run-through, Cats, the movie. Oh, and this was all unrehearsed as well. The episode was 30 minutes long, and if you'd watched it, you'd have thoroughly enjoyed it. It was funny. We were brilliant. There was a vibe going back and forth between us. Our cameras were sharp and clear. The audio was crisp. It felt like we were professionals and knew exactly what we were doing. No issues whatsoever. After we signed off, we both were on cloud 9. Feeling great, we felt like we were on top of the world. I started looking at our software, and I noticed only one really small issue. Guess who didn't hit the live button? This guy. I didn't realize that would be the start of something special, though. In March of 2020, something fell on the world that no one was prepared for. A question presented itself to me. What do friends who are extroverted social butterflies do when the world says you can't be near people? My answer was what would become known as the social undistancing show. Joe and I had ramped up the efforts to put a show on social media. The heart of the show was for us to just sit and talk about whatever we wanted to talk for an hour every night. We had so much fun doing our first real and live episode, where I actually hit the live button, that we thought we should get a guest for the next episode. Since that is how Kid Craddock ran his show, we thought we could just imitate that too. We convinced a longtime friend of mine in Lubbock, Sandy Abbey, to be our first guest. We had such a rocking time. Joe and I asked Sandy to join us as a co-host. She agreed, and we had the host of the Social and Distancing Show, or SUDS. The T is silent, by the way. I've been in Illinois for 12 years now, since my wife and I had our first daughter. My wife wanted to get closer to family after being in Lubbock. We moved to TEDxNormal as a good halfway point to family in Chicago and in Dayton. Choosing friends from my hometown as co-hosts helps me feel close to them. We can bounce thoughts off each other every day, just like when I was still in Lubbock. I feel comfortable with and get along great with Joe and Sandy. They make me laugh and can handle my personality and my isms. They're like a brother and sister to me. At this point, an epiphany occurred to me that there are a lot of people out there. The three of us considered ourselves social butterflies who no longer could go out to meet new people, but maybe we could bring them to us and our viewers. After all, everyone has a story worth sharing. Meeting new people became one of my main reasons to produce a web show. Since airing the first episode, we've had hundreds of episodes with guests appearing to share their stories. Guests from Central Illinois, all over Texas, even as far as the UK. People from all walks of life and with interesting niches. Joe, Sandy, and I often say that when God was sprinkling talent on people, our guests were showered with it. Let me tell you about a few episodes. The therapist episode. Dr. Dekisa Piña, PhD, came on to talk about the emotional dimension of wellness. She answered some excellent questions from our audience that were related to their emotions. The doctor shared insight into different aspects of mental health and taught us about emotional regulation. She also taught us about the 4 basic emotions: anger, sadness, fear, and happiness. The mermaid episode. I will admit that the idea of having a woman claiming to be a mermaid was odd. But AJ Smith is extraordinary. She had a smile that made you feel happy. She shared a message about possibilities and believing. The power to believe in yourself and unlimited possibilities. She also shared how she impacts the life of women with red tents she puts on that encourages women to discuss and confront their encounters in life. That cologne guy episode. Dr. Benjamin Schmeiser was the first guest we wondered how it was going to be talking with a professor of linguistics at ISU about cologne and perfumes. We were all captivated by his knowledge of colognes and perfumes. He taught our audience about the differences with oil and water-based sprays. He shared about olfactory fatigue, which is what happens when you don't even smell what everyone else obviously smells. It was like interacting with the Discovery Channel expert on fragrance. Everyone should watch that episode. All of our guests have made lasting impressions. Without SUDS, I never would have heard all their stories or known their lives. There was so much potential out there in 2020, and I just tapped into a little bit of it. So can you. There are some of you that have always thought about doing this. You may have already done it. Maybe you're in the process. Others of you are content to watch. But if you're someone who teeters on deciding to do your own show, I say, go for it. I found that after doing the social and distancing show and hearing so many stories, I wanted to do something. First, I wanted to help other people have an opportunity to share their story. Not only is there a little more time for folks in this world, but I truly believe the world is a better place when folks share their story. Second, I wanted to create opportunities for people to shine more spotlights on those folks with stories to share. This led me to create Suds Productions, where I find people to create their own show and share not just their story or their niche in life, but also find folks to share their story. Because of this, I've produced 2 spin-off shows. The first is Sandy Talks Sheet. This is where Sandy talks to her audience about true crime stories. People are intrigued by it and get caught up in learning about how the crimes happened and why. Sandy is one of them, and she attracts people in that group to her show. The second show involves 3 strangers: Trey, DJ Sound Effects Stoneburner, Carrie Patton Jackson, and Gabby Gabs Celeste Gamboa, whose only commonality was all of them were guests on my show. They have captivated their audience with each of the 3 hosts steering 10 episodes on a theme of their choosing. Viewers were intrigued with mysteries when Trey led with conspiracy theories such as aliens and government cover-ups. And the audience had their hearts softened when Carrie spearheaded her episodes with topics that matter to the heart, such as nursing home conditions during the pandemic. And Gabby is having the most fun time introducing the viewers to people that have cool jobs, such as a photographer and a cruise director. I currently have 2 more shows I'm producing, debuting in 2021. Those are some talented ladies. Both have a relation to my shows and unique content they will be showcasing, along with shining the spotlight on new people with different stories. At the end of 2020, a charitable arm of Suds Production was created to give back to our communities. We call it the Pineapple Project. The heart behind this was growing out of our wanting to use our platform to give back to our communities. We knew that having the collective attention of our audiences, we could tap into their generosity for support. For Christmas of 2020, we chose an organization called Christmas is for Kids. They make sure that foster children between the ages of birth and 18 have 3 gifts to unwrap on Christmas morning. We asked our viewers to help us raise money. My expectations for this was we would raise $100. And I honestly believe that we as the hosts would be putting in our own money to get to that amount. When we started it, I thought it would be amazing if we could impact at least one little child's Christmas morning. By the end of the fundraiser on December 21st, 2020, we raised over $1,500, several bins of brand new toys, gift cards for the teens, and a partnership with an insurance agency that will have a toy drive in Christmas 2021 to help us get more toys for the kids. And when we donated everything, we could have been turned away because it turns out Christmas is for Kids had more than enough gifts for their children and to stock their storeroom for next year. Something I didn't grasp well from the beginning was how much impact we would have on people's lives. We had viewers send us personal messages thanking us for the joy that we bring into their homes every night. They would say, "You are the last thing I do before I go to bed because y'all are so much fun and put me in a good mood." Others told us that we were like family in their homes, and they felt connected with us and never stopped giving to the world the way we do. If you have a burning in your heart that you feel like you should start a web show, do it. You have the chance of getting out of your comfort zone and growing, getting to hang out with your friends, and meeting new people. Why not share your story over a web show? Everyone has a story to tell. So what's yours?